Hello everyone, Orionsgear here. Today we're going to go over Kullervo, his kit, my choice of Subsume, and all of the different melee that you can use with him. We will also be going over which focus tree, which companion, and overall how to play Kullervo, or at least as how I interpret him. Anyway, let's get into the video. Going over Kullervo's kit has been a breath of fresh air considering how heavy attacks have been put to the wayside for quite a time. But with his first, third, and fourth ability introduced to the game, I've been enjoying it quite a bit. So his first ability, Wrathful Advance, it's a teleport incorporated with a heavy strike. This heavy strike scales with power and duration. So you'll see that I have 310% melee critical chance that increases the melee crit chance, the crit chance of my melee, and has a maximum duration of 15 seconds, which gives it quite a bit of flexibility to continuously teleport towards enemies and hit them with your melee. His second ability in his current state is not worth using, because not only does the ability punish you for missing enemies that you have to surround yourself with to give yourself Overguard. If you do get the Overguard, you can only have a maximum of 5,000, and the value doesn't increase in its current state. The amount of Overguard per enemy hit scales with strength, which is a bonus, but at the end of the day, you won't be running too much strength with Clover. And Overguard does not gate like shields do, which means fatal one-shot damage will happen in his current state. Alternatively, I'm using Elemental Ward to increase his base armor, his damage, and his status chance. This all contributes a great deal to his kit rather than Overguard. Not only that, but the build is centered around an extreme amount of tankiness, along with having Hunter's Adrenaline. So there is a good pool of energy to draw from. His third ability, Collective Curse. He sends an AoE cone attack towards enemies that pass straight through them, but chains enemies together. This ability scales with range. It's an area of effect as well as angle, and it scales with strength, which refers to the damage transferred on chained enemies, which is under damage redirection. And this ability gives you a lot of potential for spreading damage between large and small groups of enemies, which will be incorporated a lot into his general use. The last ability, Storm of Echo. This ability rains daggers in a AoE. This ability scales with duration, range, and strength, and it also deals slash damage. But what it doesn't say is that while using Storm of Echo, the daggers that fall down are actually contributing towards your overall combo count. So if you feel like you cannot use your combo count or your melee in a certain situation and you need to rebuild it quickly, then using his fourth ability, Storm, will give you a small passive yet feasible amount of combo count. Kullervo's passive grants 75% heavy attack efficiency and 100% heavy attack wind-up speed on all melee weapons. This gives any heavy weapon, or heavier weapon like a heavy scythe or blades with a slower heavy attack wind-up time, to be much more proficient in this case. And weapons such as daggers and regular swords are even more potent. The reason why I've left the primary and secondary free is that it does not really matter which primary and secondary you use. However, the Arcanes in the slot do. You will need to, preferably, I have found great utility in having primary and secondary dexterity in the arcane slots for primary and secondary weapons, as they are good at holding on to a large They're good at holding on to combo count and giving you higher combo count duration, which means that Kullervo can hold on to his combo count for longer and can use it. A few choice melee weapons you can use is the Azothane. The Azothane is fantastic at doing damage over time, and especially bleed procs to enemies. This is the build I'm running for it, which uses Amalgam Organ Shatter specifically, as well as Killing Blow, Spoiled Strike, Mandible, Jagged Edge, and as well as 2 sacrificial mods. This overall gives it a great amount of heavy attack, wind-up speed, as well as a good base level of slash and bleed damage. Alternatively, you can use the Syam. Syam being another one of the new Drifter melee from Deviri. This one is fairly similar, instead opting for viral instead of full slash and what have you. The special gimmick with the Syam is that if you use a heavy attack with the Syam, it actually turns into a infinite punch through strike. So even if you can hit all enemies within a small area, or if you use his first ability with the Syam, you can hit multiple enemies at the same time. Not only that, but if you use it from behind cover, you can still hit enemies. Another weapon you can use is a Hespar. As you can see, I've got a Riven. I use a Riven on the Hespar simply because I have one. There is a particular reason why I also suggest to use the Hespar is because it can deal 3 times its heavy attack damage, because there are 3 swipes within the heavy attack, and using this weapon with its specific heavy attack is proven very effective against enemies. The last build I would suggest for using on Clover is the Sancti Magistar with a heavy attack build. Using this specific build, I've been able to deal 6-digit red crits without needing any form of assistance to critical chance. I would also point out that I have Edge of Justice, Swift Break, and Flashing Bleed on the Sancti Magistar, just so you can get an idea of what I'm really doing. Additional potential bleed on impact, heavy attack wind up, and 40% attack speed. The last portion of the Warframe build is the focus tree, and I use Mending Unity with Vazarin with Void Regen and Squad Regen. Yes, I know it's not completely maxed, but this gives Kullervo a fantastic healing alternative. All you really have to do is pop into operator mode and just go invisible for approximately 6 to 5 seconds to get a maximum health regen of 50 per second. This gives you a lot of flexibility as opposed to other self-heal options, and is why I don't currently run Arcane Grace paired with Guardian. Instead, I have this instead. Instead, I have Guardian and Steadfast. For the last portion of this build, I would like to show off the build against different enemy types. We will go through each faction and just show how potent this particular build is, starting off with the Infested. Slash does a lot of slash damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't last for too long because the status duration isn't particularly high on the Azothane. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much because you're dealing so much slash damage that it doesn't even matter. Using it against Gokstrad officers, instantly dead. probably the most potent. And lastly, against Hecats, the damage dealt is significantly lowered and bypasses the shield to directly attack health. I do think that the Panzerwar Profiler is doing a lot of work there, making sure that damage goes to health and completely overtakes shields. Anywho, thank you very much for watching this video. This has been a bit of time coming since I actually missed the release of Kullervo. But now that we're here, it's done. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.